There are currently 130,000 U.S. veterans in the United States that are legally blind, and 1 million plus vets with low vision, and every single one is facing challenges every day. But we're here to help. This is Wisdom Tech Talk. Thanks for joining us with a live studio audience coming to you from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Our passion is to talk about new and old technology that may help blind or vision impaired people in their day-to-day life. Let's do it. This is Wisdom Tech Talk, and this is your host, Benjamin Keeley.
Okay, so we have David Coe, which is our co-host, Martin Romario. Sorry if I messed that up. And then we've got our speaker tonight, Marco, who's going to be doing a talk on NOVA.
Right.
So let's go ahead and let him take that away.
Hey, Marco, this is Ben. Welcome to Wisdom for the Blind's podcast called the Geek Club, where we share technology every month. And this month we're going to be talking about your AI technology, and I believe you're out of Sweden. Is that correct?
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben.
I told my friend she just got back from there. I told her to bring me a Swiss Army knife, and she said, "A what?" So, welcome, and I appreciate you joining us tonight. Just so you know, we might small audience, but we record it, and it goes on our YouTube channel for everybody else to listen to. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you, sir. And if you're one of our listeners, if you can just hold your questions until the presentation is done, I'd appreciate it. And then if you could introduce yourself, tell us how you got into the industry and the company you work for, and then talk about where you guys are going.
Okay. Quick question. Like, I have a presentation, but I don't know if it makes sense putting it up. And how about the video, and how long is the talk? Just to know.
You got an hour time slot.
Okay.
We would like to get a copy of your video, but I think the audience that I know that's on right now is all totally vision and blind.
Okay. Sounds great.
But if you can email that to me, we'll make sure that we add that to the YouTube channel.
The presentation, you mean?
Yeah, the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a video, it's just like a slide deck.
Yeah, if you can send the deck to me, that would be great.
Okay.
All
Perfect.
right. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
So she's all yours.
Oh, just starting now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you again. And so I'm Marco Trujillo. I'm a co-founder and COO of Biped. So Biped is a Swiss company based in Lausanne that has been developing AI technology, assistive technology for the past 4 years. Slightly like 2.5 years ago, we launched NOA, which is our mobility assistant wearable in Europe. So that's what I want to talk about today, our technology and how it assists blind mobility. But first of all, I'd like to start with explaining pretty much a problem that we are focused on. So mobility, as we know, is quite challenging for people with blindness because there's many layers to it. The orientation, the mobility part. On one side, we have like static obstacles that are silent, are hard to detect. That can be from holes, branches, walls, signs, chairs, you name it, which for the most part are easy to find or detect with the cane. But then there's harder obstacles like moving threads like bikes, scooters, pets, even cars that are becoming even more silent these days and they're hard to track. and keep track of. So there's higher risk of collision in those cases. And then we have what we call the last yard hurdles. So in order to get from point A from point B, just not avoiding these obstacles. Also, like there's plenty of transitions in between, like finding the door, finding the crosswalk, finding the bus stop, getting into the right bus, finding an open seat inside the bus, and many others, right? So although these transitions are very hard to do, and lastly we have like the orientation gaps, which is like making sure we are walking in the right direction, we're heading to the right destinations. So sometimes GPS can have inaccuracies, especially on the countryside or um, in city centers. Also, there's the lack of accessing visual information can cause disorientation. So we look at it as a whole, like our mobility is in general quite challenging. That said, we've seen that cameras and AI have have made it possible for cars to move around safely and even improve the safety standards of car mobility. So we're pretty much doing the same, bringing the autonomous driving technology to the shoulders of the user. Um, and we do that with the best that we're bringing to market, which is NOA. So NOA is a best, well, call it a best, but it's actually is a bit hard to describe. So it's more like a U shape kind of best. So the best description I found in the internet is like it is like a toilet seat bent to the side of your shoulders to the so it has like imagine like the two ends of the toilet seats in front of you and then the U-shaped part like the curve in the back. In the back side, you have the batteries, which you can slide in and out many. I mean, it comes with two batteries, so it's easy to take it out and then put a new one. Each battery will give you about a full day of average use, or if you're like using it at its maximum capacity, meaning like all features turned on at the same time, it will give you about 3.5 hours of continuous use. So that's why it comes with two. And then on the front side, you have the two ends of the U shape best. On the left side, you have all the camera system. So it has three cameras. They are depth perception cameras, so they can look at night. They are polarized, so they can look at very high light exposure during the days. They have a total of 170 degrees field of view, so they're looking in front of you and to your sides as well, tracking everything that's moving around you, also from the ground up to your head.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yep.
I know I'm not supposed to, but to help our audience
Sure.
understand a little better, can you describe the device itself? Is it a pair of goggles? Is it like an Orcam, a little thing on the lipstick that goes to the side? Is it a vest? What?
It's a vest with a U shape. So imagine the U, it has the two ends and then the union, but the two ends of the strap are in the front and the curve is in the back. So it like rests on your shoulders around your neck. So you have one of the ends on the left side on your chest, the other end on the right side of your chest, and then the curve that is on the back of your head. Again, sitting on the upper part of your back or in your on your neck, pretty much.
Let me one more
Uh-huh.
time. Did you and I meet at ACB?
Yes.
Okay, and the device was fit over your shoulders, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, so now I'll focus. David, this is the one you tried also.
Yeah, we talked about that before
Yeah.
you got on. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry about that. I was behind the 8 ball. Now I'm in front of it.
No, that's perfect. And feel free to add anything if the description is not as accurate as I've like. It's quite a novel form factor, so it's difficult like to find a nice reference that explains how it is. But it weighs about 2 pounds. It's fully black. I was saying you have the cameras on the left side of your chest, the battery in the back, and then on the right side of your chest and the other end of the vest, you have the computer, which is processing the AI in real time, and 10 buttons to trigger that are divided like in 3 sections. One section to trigger all the features of the device, a single button in front to turn on and off the device and pause or resume it, and then three buttons in another section to interact with the features as you go. Lisa, were you? I think you were wanting to say something. Okay.
I'm here. I'm driving right now, though. Sorry, I'm late joining.
Oh, no worries.
No worries, no worries. I thought you were adding something else. And the device also pairs to bone conduction headphones from Shocks. So they, I think you're pretty familiar with them, but they are these open ear headphones that sit on the temples, and then they allow you to hear your surroundings. They go around the back of your neck, of your head, sorry. And it also pairs to your headphones. Now, the reason why our device is called NOA is actually an acronym for the 3 core features of the device, which is navigation, which is like turn-by-turn GPS navigation, obstacle detection in real time, and AI. So NOA, navigation, obstacles, and AI. So moving forward, so why NOA? So I was saying that it is the very first device, electronic travel aids, for those who are technical, if we have any O&M around here, is the first electronic travel aid that is using cameras and AI. So never in the past another smart mobility aid or electronic travel aid had used cameras. All of them have been using sensors, like ultrasound sensors, LiDAR sensors, laser sensors, you name it. There's plenty of them. So what's exciting about cameras is like, compared to sensors are good at estimating like distance to obstacles around, but they can't tell what the obstacles are because they're essentially blind. They're good for perceiving the obstacle, but not for telling what it is. Cameras, on the other side, require more processing to tell the proximity with precision, which is a challenging part, and that's why pretty much they haven't been used for this use case. But because we have a wide-angle camera, we can access more information about the environments of the user and providing more useful hints to the user, not just the proximity of things, but also describing the scenarios to the user. So again, this is the very first electronic travel aid using cameras. We use two interesting parts of our technology is that we use depth perception cameras. So depth perception cameras use infrared light. So they are emitting infrared light and then detecting the light that is reflected. So it means that it is better estimating proximity than regular cameras. It can also work what cameras don't work very well, like in low light environments, or when there are objects that are reflective or not reflective at all, like mirrors or crystal doors. Our device is able to detect all of those and navigate during night or days. So that's pretty cool. Also, what's new and unique about our device is that we designed it to be the best complement to the cane or to the guide dog. So it actually has these 2 types of modes. It will behave different according to whether you're using a cane or a guide dog, and not only that, like it also adapts to many only aspects of you, like your height, your pace, the length of your cane, the level of vision that you have. It takes some time to calibrate this part, but it tries to fine-tune the obstacle detection, the alerts, everything to the way you behave and you move around. It's the best complement in the sense, like, for example, well, I'll go more into it once I start talking about the obstacle detection, but it basically adapts how it the alerts behave. So when you're walking, you'll hear alerts like beeps in the space, pretty similar to the parking sensors of cars, but with a 3D effect. So you'll hear beeps on the right or the left, high pitch if the obstacle is high level, like a tree branch, low pitch if the obstacle is low level, like trash can. So imagine the high pitch will be like beep, 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 and low pitch will be more like beep, 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 beep. And even lower pitch if the obstacle is like a hole or on the ground or like staircase going down, like beep, 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 beep. So the frequency informs the proximity to the obstacle, and then again you have the 3D effect to know if the obstacle is on your right, left. So it's pretty intuitive. For cane users, for example, you have more information, a wider lateral detection. So if you're getting near to a wall, for example, you start hearing before from before in case compared to the guide dog mode, because guide dog users don't really have a hard time going around obstacles, but what's difficult for guide dog users, especially at the beginning, is like building the trust in the dog. So the dogs, depending on how they are trained and the nature of the dog itself, sometimes they take like sharp turns, a bit aggressively. Others don't, but initially it's hard to trust the dog. But if this device will try to give you an alert before the dog changes direction, so you can anticipate the dog will turn. Um, in general, you will hear a lot less beeps when you're using the guide dog mode than the cane mode, but that's also because cane users will need a bit more information to move around as they are not being led like a guide dog users, right? So yeah, the first unique aspect of us is like, again, the device tries to complement the use of a primary aid, whether you're using a cane or a guide dog. The second yep. Oh,
No, that's
oh,
just
sorry.
background noise.
Okay. The second aspect, which is very interesting about the device, is that it improves the design encourage the improvement of orientation mobility skills. So the device will try to do is raise awareness of things around you, whether there are obstacles through beeps in the space, or describe the scenario for you, pointing out the different points of interest, like the door, the exit, the chairs, and approximate distance and locations of things. But it won't guide you continuously. So the goal here is that just simply to raise awareness so the user can build their own mental maps of the space they're in. And then let's say the device tells you that there's a door about 8 feet at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So the user knows that the door is there, but it won't guide you to the door. So that's when you take out your cane and you walk. You use your own skills, and it might tell you like, okay, there's a person in the way. So you are anticipating a person, and they move around and then get to the door. And the last thing is that it assesses risk in a smart way. So most obstacle detectors out there, they just beep if it detects an obstacles, or vibrate if it detects an obstacles, and according to the proximity, it vibrates more or beeps more. So our device is tracking all obstacles around the user, is also tracking their current trajectories, predicting their trajectory in the future, and also predicting your trajectory. And it assesses if there's a risk of collision in the future. And based on this probabilistic model to assess risk, it will prioritize alert to the obstacle that represents the biggest risk. So for example, let's say we are walking in a sidewalk. There's a person in front of you walking. It's close, maybe 3 steps in front. Is working, but it's walking faster than you. And then you have maybe like from the left side, there's a scooter coming at a faster speed, and it's going to collide with you in the future. Maybe it's coming like from 15 feet away, but it's coming fast. So even though you have a closer obstacle in front, you won't detect the person moving in front of you as an obstacle because it's actually moving faster than you. So there's no risk of collision in the future. But on the other side, the scooter that is coming from your left, it will predict there's a risk of collision, so it will alert you of the scooter coming from your left, instead of the person that is closer to you in front. So that's also another novelty, and the models that we are using is the exact same model that Honda is using for their autonomous cars. We had a partnership with them, and we are borrowing their risk collision model, and we adapt them to pedestrians. So again, the unique things about us is that first, we are designing it to be the best complement to any primary aid. It encourages skill development, and it assesses risk in a smart way.
That sounds fabulous. Can we make a pause and just open the floor for a few minutes and see
Yep.
if there's any questions so far?
Sure.
If you have a question, we'd like you to just tell us your name, and when we call on you, you can ask your question. So the floor is now open. Anybody got a question?
This is David. I'll start.
1 second. Okay, David, ask your question, please.
So it sounds pretty fascinating, and I did try it out at the ACB conference this summer, but I didn't get a chance to really put it to its paces. But my question is, have you tried it with any blind individual in a scooter or a wheelchair that doesn't have access necessarily to a guide dog or a cane? So
Yeah.
you have, okay. So does it work out pretty good?
Yeah, thank you for asking this question, David. Yes, we tried it, and in fact, we still developing the wheelchair mode. We have a mode for that. It works. It's a bit more challenging scenario, and I'll tell you why. Because one is one of the limitations of the device that we currently have is that when it comes to ground level detection, floor level detection, it has a tolerance of about 1.5 feet. So anything that's below 1.5 feet off the ground, like a small curve, for example, or a rock or something like that, the device won't indicate that. That's why it's meant to be a complement as well. We are improving that accuracy, especially for wheelchair users or people using a stroller, because we can actually improve that tolerance because they are not walking and generating like this bouncy movement that we generate every time we walk, because they are actually driving, and it's more stable. So we are trying to improve that. And the other aspect it basically removes the frames of the wheelchair or the handlebar of the stroller as an obstacle. So that is working well. It's just the ground detection that is a bit limited. But we haven't really launched that mode yet because we are making improvements on it. And something else we are trying right now is we made a different version of the device that is basically like a box that you can attach to the wheelchair or to a stroller, and then instead of having it on your shoulders, it can be attached to the wheelchair, and we expect that will improve also ground level detection and the overall experience, as you need to carry it on your shoulders. But that again is still in a prototype phase. We have been testing with a few users, so maybe we can share more about it, maybe by the Q2 of this year, Q3 potentially.
Very nice. Any other questions?
This is Chuck. I have a question.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so far you've mentioned beeps, different tones. does a camera, let's say it detects a human in front of you, does it actually say there's somebody or there's a human or there's a person in front of you? Does the AI talk to you?
Okay, thank you for the question, Chuck. So the device is yeah, the AI is capable of recognizing the nature of the obstacle. So let me tell you how it works. So the beeps are useful in the sense that they give you real-time feedback, so you can react rapidly. But you can also trigger descriptions of your surroundings. Or find objects. So the device has a couple buttons that you can use, one to trigger description, and it can be a long description or a short description. A long description, and by the way, descriptions or AI descriptions will take more time. They don't work real time because they need connection to internet. And we use Gemini and OpenAI models in the cloud to process the image and come back with the description. The difference is that we prompt it in a way that is useful for mobility. So for example, a long description will take from, depending on your internet connection, from 6 seconds to 10 seconds to come back, for example, and it will describe your surroundings from left to right using words, where the points of interest are. Like let's say, okay, there's a door slightly to your left, 8 feet away. There's a person in front of you, 4 feet away, slightly to your right. You will find a trash can, and then to your sharp right, there's a hallway, for example, that extends for maybe 20 feet or something like that. So that's the kind of description. Something to point out that is relevant is like you probably have seen like other types of AI glasses. There are different kinds or AI apps. So the thing that it's unique about NOA is that one, it's precise in determining the 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 proximity to things. So it will tell you how far these points of interest are from you, um, and exact location, and it will skip, like, let's call it like the more mm, like the shiny descriptions or the wordy descriptions around, like, okay, it's a person wearing a coat with black hair. It will skip that. It will tell you just anything that's just relevant for mobility purposes, like it's a person standing in the way looking at your phone. It might be relevant that they're looking at your phone because they're probably not paying attention to you, right? Uh, but it won't describe, it won't go into much detail, so you can just focus on moving around safely in that environment. The other way to use AI is that you can use the other button to go through a list of AI objects to search, or objects or classes to search. So for example, you can search for doors, open seats, crosswalks, uh, bus stops, and text, and many others. Is a list. You go through the list by clicking the buttons, and then once you find the thing you want to search for, like let's say an open seat, you click a select button, and it'll try to find the open seat. So we'll basically take a snapshot of the 3 cameras and tell you, okay, there's a few seats available. One is on your left, 3 feet. The other 2 are on your slight right, 8 feet away, for example. So
Very cool.
either searching or just describing.
Thank you for your question, Chuck. Any other questions? All right, we're going to go ahead and close the floor and go back to some of the features and part of the lecture. Thank you. So we're back to you, sir.
Okay, sounds great. So I was saying that we have these 3 core features: navigation, obstacles, and AI. I haven't mentioned much about navigation, but it works pretty much like any other GPS. providing turn-by-turn directions, and you can set it up if you want standard descriptions like turn right, turn slightly left, and so forth. Use clockwise descriptions. I mean clockwise instructions like turn to 3 o'clock, turn to 1 o'clock, or use cardinal directions as well. So there's a compass embedded in the system. So turn east, turn northeast, and similar. That depends on your taste, of course, and ONMs will argue on how advanced are you with some your ONM skills. The device will also reroute you if you are going out of your current road. And there's two ways to set up a destination with the device. So one is you can open the app and set an address if it's a new address, or search for a place and it'll find the address. And there's the other way to do it is you can fill a list of destinations from the app, like you visit often, let's say like your house, your office, or the school or the church, and then you can access any of these destinations from the buttons on the device. Just click continuously until you find the destination you want to go, like home, office, church, then click select, and it will start navigation to the place you selected, basically. Something very interesting that we're working on the navigation aspect. I was mentioning at the beginning that GPS can be inaccurate in some scenarios. So one thing we're working on, we expect to release this year, is improving the accuracy of the GPS by filling those gaps with what the cameras are seeing. So let's say you're walking down the street, the next instruction is to turn right by the end of the street. Sometimes, depending on the accuracy of your GPS signal, you may never hear that instruction coming, but or it may come faster than you expected. But because we are having cameras that have wide angle, they're looking in the street environment, they could assess if the right timing to tell you the instruction. So either delaying the instruction or anticipating it if the GPS doesn't match with what it's seeing. So those are the kind of things that we are improving to soften the turn-by-turn direction experience on the GPS side. And eventually we also add stuff like to provide more descriptions of what the cameras are seeing as you walk. On the obstacle side, I mentioned the beeps, the 3D space. I mentioned it has a full body protection from the ground up to your head, and how it complements the cane. So I think on the beep side, we are covered. If any, just to mention the buttons that you have, and you can adjust their range on the go on the device. So the range, meaning the range that it will trigger the alerts. Because the cameras are seeing as far as 50 feet away, but you only will start hearing the beeps when when the obstacle passes the range that you set up. So that could be like from 3 feet to 15 feet. And then you can also from the app adjust a few other settings, like if you only want to get upper body detection or the full body detection, or from the ground up to or just the head detection, you can set that up. Or if you want a narrow lateral detection, because maybe you're walking in an indoor space with long hallways, like a supermarket, for example, then you probably don't want too much of the lateral detection, because the aisles are there. So you want to narrow it down. It is possible. All this customization is possible from the app, and the range from the buttons. On the AI features, well, I mentioned the long description. I didn't mention the short one, but it's very practical one. It's just basic. It's faster than the long one. The long one I told him, I said it could take from 6 to 10 seconds. The shorter one will take maybe from 4 to 8. And it will only tell you if your path ahead is clear, or if it's blocked, and give you some hints of how to go around the thing that is blocking your path.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
This is David. Sorry. So on the alerts, you said earlier that the device will learn your speed that you travel, your gait, and all that kind of stuff, and how well your mobility is. But how fast of a reaction if something came up on you all of a sudden, like someone, running down the street at you from the left or right hand side, or a bicycle or a car or something like that? Is there a quick response to that time?
Yeah, it's quite responsive. It works real time. So to be precise about that, the device is assessing the risk of collision of obstacles about 15 times a second.
Okay.
So if something changes in a split of a second, it will detect it and
Okay.
alert you.
This is Romario. To add to what you just mentioned, Marco, I was using the device over the weekend last week, and I was walking in the walkway towards a car. But this is in my neighborhood, so I know the neighborhood. But you talked about risk detection. So
Yep.
I had set the range to 10 feet. There was a tree to my left, and there was a car in front of me. But as you mentioned, because the tree is not in my direct pathway, it didn't detect the tree, detect the car instead, which was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and this is the nice thing about AI. AI is only getting better over time. I'm like every time I try it, I'm impressed like with the accuracy of the descriptions, for example, or this kind of behavior, right? Like it assesses risk smartly every time. So let's say this is the dumbest the version you have is the dumbest one that will be available because next month we'll have an update and it's gonna get smarter. So, yeah, thanks for sharing, Romario.
Yeah, another thing with the scene description, if you're walking along a path and the path would break away either to your left or to your right, if you should generate a scene description, it will tell you that. It will tell you the path continues straight for 50 feet and then break off to your left or to your right. It will tell you that information. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I wish we could do that in real time. Because so it's unfortunately right now you need to wait. Eventually, as we improve the technology, it will be available in real time. Because sometimes it's hard, especially for I believe like for guided user or well cane users, because sometimes it's easy like to skip the extra pad or the how you say the split pad with the cane if you're not like sweeping long enough side to side, right?
Right.
Um, so cool. Thanks for sharing, Romario.
Yeah, of course.
Do we have any other questions while the floor is open?
I have a question for Mario, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, go.
So, Mario, what's your vision like, and how well? I mean, do you use it quite often, the piece of equipment, and what do you like best about it?
Well, I'm totally blind.
Okay.
So I've been testing the device for the past, I would say, a month now. It gives you a lot of information because, again, I was walking in my neighborhood, but I know there's trees to my. If I'm walking towards the gate or my neighborhood, I'll be heading east, and there will be trees to my left, and this is how I know that there was a tree where this car was, because before I had walked past this tree, because this is like 2 houses down from my house. So I know there's a tree there on the left. But on one particular day, there was no car in that driveway. And the device was able to detect the tree that was on my left. But on this other day, the car was in front of me and it didn't detect the tree. It detected the car, which was a direct collision to me. And I find that to be cool.
So the car was like blocking the
Yes.
pathway? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
That's
Cool.
very awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
The thing about it, like if there's a fast object coming towards you, like if you're walking towards an object at a steady pace, the device will beep, 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 beep. And as soon as you go closer to that, the beep increases. But if there's something coming towards you very fast, then the beep is very fast. So you know that something is coming towards you quickly.
Cool.
How long have you had the device, Mario?
Maybe a month now.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Marcos, what version of the software are you on now, and what's available to the public today?
So what's available today? I mean, I think it's 1.10.1.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
1.10.1. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And what's available today? Well, so on the navigation part, you can set it as an address from the app and start navigation. By the end of this month, you'll able to go through the list of your favorite places from the buttons. So it's pretty much available right now. I mean, it's available on the beta, but not on the public one. Just the list of destinations, of favorite destination, but that will be by the end of this month. On the obstacle detection, it's pretty much everything that we talked today. Yeah, pretty much everything that we discussed today. And in the AI, yeah, the same. The full descriptions, the short description, and the object finding are available now at a
And
latency.
do you use ChatGPT or do you use another engine?
We use Gemini for the most part, but we also use ChatGPT or 4o when there's like issues with Gemini.
Okay, so are you on the latest version of all their OSs?
Yes.
Okay. And is the product still in beta, or is it released and in beta?
It's released. I mean, we have beta features in beta, but that's just only for the upcoming releases that we are adding. But yeah, we've been selling this product in Europe for over 2 years now, and we just started selling in the US last year, like half a year.
So one question I have: anytime you have a device that's really strong hardware related, like your device, do you try and do all your upgrades into a software package, or is the person that the client that buys the unit going to have to continue to upgrade the hardware also?
No, all the updates are only on the software side. We don't expect to do changes to the hardware side, and we already did changes like but we froze the hardware last year with the version that we launched to the US. So before, like the version we launched to Europe a couple years before the launch in the US, the only difference was that it didn't have any buttons on the device. So we just added buttons to the US release because we found that that was useful from our experience launching in Europe. And we don't expect to change the hardware at least like in 3 years.
Very cool. And so talk to me about the support and the upgrade path. Is there a subscription service, or once you purchase it, you get all the updates for free, or?
Yeah. So yeah, it's single payment, and there's all the updates are available for free. Like in fact, we have users that got the device over 2 years ago, and the only thing that we launched at that time was just the obstacle detector. So we didn't have the GPS part, we didn't have the AI description part, and today they're using all these features for the same price they paid 2 years and a half ago.
And what's your warranty on the product?
So it's 2 years of warranty.
Mhm. And finally, do you have an? I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a dealers network, or do they buy direct, or?
Yeah, we are building a distribution network here in the US. So we're working with Lisa in Florida division
I knew
and
that.
Romario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I've been. So I got access to the device from Florida Vision Technology. I am with Florida Vision Technology actually. I'm the Braille and speech product support specialist there, and that's how I've been interacting with this device and just using it on a day-to-day basis.
Very cool.
Mhm.
And you and I haven't met yet, Mario, but I've heard a lot of great things about you. Lisa and I are pretty good friends. So
Yeah. Lisa talk a lot about you too, Ben.
that's scary.
Yeah. All good things.
So this is
So
David again. I'm a huge Trekkie fan, and I don't know what your future designs are going to be like, but there's a great episode on Star Trek, the original series, where
Cool.
a scientist, blind scientist, um, wears a device like what you guys have, except it's woven into a vest, more of a clothing item, so it doesn't look odd. So I don't know if that's your future design coming up, but you should watch that episode. It's really cool.
That's interesting. I look for it. Yeah, you know what, like episode or any reference to the episode that you remember?
I don't. I do not remember the. It's the first generation. The original generation, and it's she's a scientist, and she's an ambassador to a device, an alien that is so ugly that a human can't visually look at it.
and like you,
Yeah, exactly. So, but she's blind, and she has this sensor woven into her clothing, a vest, exactly like yours, except more futuristic, of course. But it might be your future design down the road to modify after, and it would be a good marketing thing, other than a toilet seat around your neck.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. It was funny, but it's so actually, I mean, now that you mentioned that, like a month ago, the CEO Mael, um, he was. I mean, we were just having like discussions about the future of the product and so forth, and he was saying that he's really liking the idea of embedding the device technology or like woven it inside a backpack. So it's like just
Hmm.
wearing a backpack and make the cameras detachable somehow. So you can even carry the cameras inside and then just take the camera out, attach it to the front part so it's stable in the front, between the two straps of the backpack. And
I think you got to go the other direction. Go more forward. To me, that's going backwards. With today's technology and as fast as it's growing,
uh-huh.
Camera technology and fiber optics and all that kind of stuff. I'll have to find the episode and I'll send it to Lisa, and then she can pass it on to Mario, and you guys
Okay.
can watch it.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
sounds good.
That's
David,
good, David.
I got a question. Is Lisa on board still?
She was driving.
Yeah, I don't know if she's still there. I'll ask one more time.
I'm here. Hello. I've been listening.
Can I ask you a question, Lisa?
Sure.
So I understand you're one of the partners for Florida,
Yes.
and I know that you worked with before Marcos and some other people on your team checked it out, and I heard some good feedback. So moving forward, if somebody was interested in talking to you about that, they could call the office and get one of your staff there to help.
Right, sure. They can call, Romario is the go-to person at my office. He's, yeah, he's been using it every weekend. The last update, I've yet to get out and about with him to see what the new update brought as far as like adjusting the sensitivity, the range and things like that. But at Florida Vision Technology, Romario Blake is your go-to for virtual demo, in-person demo. And if we need Marco's expertise, we will get him on board as well.
Sounds good. And for our veterans out there, and if you haven't, I'd be glad to work with you and set up something with the rehab center. Have you talked to anybody in our circle of friends at the VA?
Yes, it's been mentioned. We're waiting for a date.
At the BRC?
Yes.
If I need to get involved to make that happen.
Okay, yeah, it might even be as soon as next week. I should know tomorrow, actually.
Okay. If you had trouble, let me know. I think
Okay.
Gavino would love to see this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be Thursday next week.
All right, and what I'll do tomorrow, I'll call him and just give him a heads up that I had a presentation and it was pretty awesome.
Okay. Yeah, Romario and I are going to be there. I think it's Thursday.
Yes, it's Thursday.
Yes.
All right, so I'll put a phone call in if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Of course.
I'll call Gavino in the morning.
Okay.
Sounds good.
For those that don't know, I'm the ambassador for the VA for Southern Florida from Orlando down, and we get a great opportunity to see different technologies, and we always like to let our friends know at the VA that there's something they need to look at, and I think this is one of them. The next question, Lisa, you can defer if you want to. On the non-VA pricing, do you have a ballpark a starting?
The retail price is $4,950.
Okay. Thank you very much. And do you want to add anything to our users while they're here?
Well, I believe that this is a next generation technology that you really need to try for yourself and see how it can, improve your independence. Being able to add that level of safety, security, independence is huge. So I encourage you all to, ask for a demo, try it for yourselves and help us spread the word.
Sounds great. I'd like to invite Nova to be a guest on our podcast, Share the Wisdom. I think it'll be a good feature podcast to be on. And I'd like to invite you to talk to Lisa or I about joining us on October 19th.
Cool. Yeah. Happy to do it.
So that's what I have. Anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
I mean, not really. There's not too much stuff. Maybe just mention that we have plenty of resources for orientation mobility specialists as well. We have a dedicated app for training. We have an onboarding with different levels or sessions that will show you how the device works and simulate how the device works in different scenarios that you will need to pass before using the device. Training templates in a dashboard with a lot of resources that can be useful. So we are designing the device not only for the user, but also for the orientation and mobility specialist.
Great. I'd like to hook you up with Bree and see if we can get some of that content up in the university for Wisdom for the Blind. So.
Yeah, count on it.
I will just add too, for the Florida folks that we're closest to, you can reach Romario at 800-981-5119.
Sounds great. And remember, if you have any questions or anything, you can get a hold of us at info@w4tv.org. and all those things find their way over to Lisa's team, or we try and get an answer for you also. So, any other questions or anything? Mario, Marco,
good.
Lisa, thank you very much for all joining us. And to everybody listening today, Dave and Chuck and everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. And if you last time for questions, and we'll go from there. Any questions?
So, thanks for having me here.
Oh, it was our pleasure, and look forward to working with you on some other stuff.
Sounds good, Ben.
You've been listening to Wisdom Tech Talk, coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with an in-studio audience at the Wisdom for the Blind Studios. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you know someone who's blind or vision impaired, tell them about the show. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit the website at www.w4bv.org. And we'll see you next time on Wisdom Tech Talk.